What if I told you it's possible to get incredibly rich without having a boss and without having to hire a bunch of people? And you don't need to break your back as a freelancer either. Instead, you can do what many successful creators and entrepreneurs are doing right now, running highly profitable one-person businesses. Now, a one-person business model is exactly how my last business made over $1 million in revenue. I sold that business, I became financially free, and in this video, I'm breaking down the exact framework you can use to do the same thing. Now, this isn't a guide about building a personal brand either, like most of the other videos out there on this topic. Instead, I'm outlining 3 distinct but powerful paths you can take to establish a profitable one-person business. And then I'm going to explain how you can choose the best path for you and begin scaling by working smart, not just hard. If you want to escape the rat race and build your own pathway towards financial freedom, this is the video for you. Let's get to it. And so the first model I'm going to talk about and how you can establish a one-person business, I'm going to call it the high margin rocket. I don't really have a better name for it, but I'm going to explain how this works. And this is honestly how I started out with my first one-person business. So this business model is about building a monetized system and then letting algorithms distribute it at scale for you completely for free. In other words, this is leveraging the potential to go viral and get free traffic with an offering you're putting out to the marketplace. Here are a couple of common examples of what this might look like. There is organic TikTok dropshipping through TikTok shops. You could create an online product or course that you sell through YouTube videos. You could create paid Notion templates or budget templates and then try to go viral on Twitter or TikTok. Or you could just build a simple brand or sell a simple product and again, try to leverage social media to get free traffic to your business. Now, this is honestly the framework I used to run my first one-person business and scale it to over $1 million in revenue. Back then, it was a bit of a cheat code, but with blogging at the time, you could essentially write really detailed content targeting long tail word keywords, and Google would just bless you with all this free organic traffic. I did this for years. I got millions of free page views and free customers from Google organic traffic, earned over $1 million in revenue, and I was largely promoting low ticket affiliate offers that were really easy to convert. That was my one-person business. Now, blogging and long tail keywords doesn't exactly work the same anymore, but you get the general idea. This whole strategy and one-person business is about, again, creating a product offering or a service and leveraging algorithmic traffic to get free eyeballs to your business. This is honestly how some content creators out there make tons of money in a very short period of time. They essentially go viral, they use that free traffic to sell some kind of product or service, and then as the algorithm changes, as their traffic dies off, they either sail away into the sunset or they try to repeat the process again. Now, one of the best parts and my favorite aspect of this one-person business model or framework is that it tends to be very high margin. This is just the nature of getting free traffic and eyeballs to your business. You're not paying for ads, you're not paying for customer acquisition, so your margins tend to be much higher. Now, the downside of this one-person business model or framework is that it is very much feast or famine. When you're blessed by the algorithm, you get all this free traffic and customers, and when you're not blessed by the algorithm, business can grind to a halt. But again, with this model, when you win, you tend to win big. And this is also an excellent model to consider if you're just starting out and you don't have money to try out pathway number 2, which I'm about to cover. So the second kind of framework you could use to build some kind of one-person business is more of a leverage play, or at least that's what I'm going to call it for this video. And really, this is the growth mode model where you take a bit more control over your destiny versus relying on going viral or algorithmic traffic to drive your business. Now, for the vast majority of people, this is once again going to look like creating a product or service that solves a problem and adds value to the marketplace. But instead of trying to go viral on social media or trying to get free traffic to your business, you're going to leverage typically paid advertisements to get customers into the door. Now, this can still be a highly profitable one-person business, except you're acting much more like an owner-operator in this case. You're really in the weeds. You're really spending money to attract customers. There's often a period of latency where you're spending money and you're not getting any results until eventually you start closing deals and making sales. Now, here are a few examples of specific one-person business models that kind of utilize this framework. One common one these days is running paid ads to a digital product or affiliate offer. You can also run paid ads as a lead generation service for different niches. You could build your own dropshipping brand or e-commerce brand on a platform like Shopify. Or you could do something like buy an existing online business or SaaS product that's already cash flowing and just take over as the solo operator. And really, this entire framework of running a one-person business is for people who typically have more experience and they're willing to invest into growth, and they want something that is a bit more stable and scalable than, again, that first framework where you rely on free algorithmic traffic. Honestly, this is kind of the bucket where I know most solo one-person business operators who are successful are working right now. Like, I know a bunch of guys in PPC advertising or pay-per-click advertising. They run lead generation businesses, or they sell affiliate offers, or they sell their own digital products, and they fuel their entire business by being very good at running ads, essentially. Now, the main downside of this one-person business model is that you need some starting cash to pay for ads. You need to test what works. You need to find out ways to actually attract the right audience and then convert them. So again, it is less beginner-friendly because you have to invest money into attracting customers. However, the advantage is that once you find a system that works, again, it is much more scalable and tends to be a lot more stable than relying on free traffic like in option one. Now, there's a third option I wanted to highlight for how you can potentially run your own one-person business, and this is more of a middleman model. And so under this model, you're essentially selling a service you don't deliver yourself. You just connect the dots and take a cut along the way. Now, the modern and trendy word for this is drop servicing, but really what it means is you're basically finding people who need a service and they're willing to pay for it, and you're connecting them to someone who can fulfill that service, and you're taking a cut along the way. Here are a couple of popular examples, again, ones that can be run completely by a single owner operator. For example, you could start an influencer agency that pairs brands with creators and takes a cut of any contracts. You could sell video editing, copywriting, or web design services to people as a service on a monthly retainer, and then outsource all of the work. Or you could create a UGC or short form video agency that, again, outsources all of the work to content creators. You focus on client acquisition and processes, and the actual work is outsourced. Now, again, I've met quite a few people running these kinds of businesses, typically in the influencer marketing space. And this is really an ideal path to consider if you are amazing at sales and you really like marketing and selling yourself and dealing with customers and vendors and connecting the dots. Now, what I would say is the one downside with this framework is that typically as you scale, you are going to have to hire on a lot more help. Again, it can kind of be a one-person business, like you can outsource a lot of this. You don't necessarily have to hire full-time employees, but I think this is one of the harder frameworks to scale without really complicating your life, just because there's so much client involvement. So those are kind of the three different frameworks for how you might approach actually building a one-person business. And I wanted to highlight these frameworks because most of the videos I've seen on this topic or the articles I've read about it, they all focus on just building a personal brand and that being your one-person business. In reality, this is not how most one-person businesses function, at least not the successful ones that I've met. Most of the time, it's people running advertisements to some specific offering or service they have. It's people maybe making money as an influencer, but it's really not that common to just be this personal brand and you make all of this money because you're famous across the internet. Now, with those three models in mind, how can you pick the one-person business model that's actually right for you? Well, really my advice here would be that if you're brand new and you're starting out and you have no money saved up or a very little amount of money saved up, maybe you're in high school or you're in college or you just graduated and you got your first job, I really suggest trying the high margin launch sort of method because again, you're relying on free traffic from algorithms and you're not investing money into advertising. This is honestly great, especially for young adults. You can build TikTok theme pages. You can try organic dropshipping on TikTok, build Instagram theme pages, start a YouTube channel. Essentially learn how to market yourself for free because then at any point in your life when you come up with a product or service you want to sell, you'll be able to lean back on these free traffic sources and at least get something off of the ground. Now, if you have a bit of a bankroll or you have previous media buying experience or marketing experience, it might make more sense for you to choose that second pathway, the leverage path, where you're kind of taking control of your destiny a little bit more by paying for customer acquisition. And lastly, if you're very good with sales and people and you like the idea of being a middleman, of course, that middleman model might be better for you. Now, personally, my bread and butter has always been the first method. I love free traffic. There's just something so satisfying about cracking the algorithm and getting all of this free traffic to your business, which is essentially free revenue. However, I will say it's becoming a little bit harder in some niches to do this. So I am certainly branching out into the second model where I'm spending money on ads to acquire customers. And ultimately you can hop between these models, but it's a very good thing to distinguish between the frameworks. So you're not just blindly posting content and you don't know why your business isn't growing. That's really the 3-step process in actually launching a one-person business. Again, it's pretty simple. You pick your framework, you pick your offering, and you pick your traffic source. Now, the great news is that these days there's a 4th step, and that's using AI to essentially automate even more aspects of your business, hire fewer employees, and increase your margins. I'm going to make another video if you guys want. You can let me know down in the comments about popular AI tools that help you actually power a one-person business. But again, it's a really simple framework. You just have to know what path is right for you. And again, pick a simple offer and then go sell. Now, really quickly, guys, just to wrap up this video, I want to cover why one-person businesses are awesome, why they're something I love, why I think they're an amazing opportunity, and then some of the pitfalls and why you might potentially want to skip this business model. The first pro just has to be the high margins. I mean, you can run a lot of one-person businesses, especially ones leveraging free traffic sources, at like 80 to 90% margins, which is absolutely insane. And that kind of ties into the second pro, which is that these business models can really accelerate your path to financial freedom. And the main reason for that is that any of the wins you're getting in these businesses at these high margins goes right into your bank account. You're not paying employees or you're paying remote freelancers. You're not paying super high taxes because you're running as a corporation, hopefully. And really, any of the wins that you're making are just for you. On top of that, it ties into the third pro, which is that a lot of these one-person businesses make for very easy sell. After all, if you have a proven framework and you're a talented owner-operator, you can find other people looking to acquire one-person businesses and sell your business as an exit. That's what I've done with my blog. I know people who have done that with YouTube channels, lead generation companies, all kinds of businesses. And again, that exit is oftentimes how people achieve financial independence. Now, as for the cons, the first one has to be that you are an island. You're the business, you're all on your own. And that means that when you go through some droughts or tough periods of time, there's really no one else to lean on, particularly in terms of getting advice, but also in terms of where your paychecks are coming from. And that brings me to the second con, which is, again, sometimes the algorithms can change or different environmental factors can change that really impact your business and your bottom line. And so if you're not prepared or you don't have a bit of a bankroll and you go through some bad months, it can be very tough as a solo operator. And finally, the third con, although I don't necessarily view this as much of a con, is that you ultimately have a lower ceiling most of the time on your income potential. But I'm talking about earning ceiling in relation to companies that hire more people and scale and ultimately take more of the market share, not a 9-to-5 job. I think a one-person business can still vastly out-earn any 9-to-5 job out there. But again, if you're not hiring people, you're not scaling your business, and you're acting as a solo owner-operator, you'll probably hit some earning ceiling at some point. So what's next for you if you want to start your own one-person business? Well, guys, you don't need investors, you don't need a boss, and you don't need to grow your company headcount to try and look flashy on LinkedIn. You just need the right system, the right product to sell, and the willingness to try and keep at it, even when the going gets tough. Again, don't be afraid to start small. You can pick a model, take imperfect action, and when something finally clicks, start scaling as fast as you can. This is what I'm doing currently across some niche YouTube channels and some blogs and some newsletters, and I'm loving every minute of it. Now, again, it might take you some time to get the hang of things, but you can actually think about these frameworks, think about the offer you want to sell, and then start testing, because you never really know where a one-person business might end up. In any case, guys, I hope this video was helpful. It's a little bit different than the other videos out there on this topic because, again, they seem to all talk about personal branding. So hopefully something in this video resonates with you. I'll be making more content like this, so if you want to subscribe or leave a comment or a like and just let me know what you thought about the video, that's always appreciated as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.